very happy to be here. The story of the development of the refugee and migrant education network hopefully will be instructive um, in setting the stage for what networks can do and perhaps even their importance in moving the agenda forward. In 2015, 16, I founded a small foundation called Being the Blessing after 22 years of being a university president. And one of our objectives was to do ways of finding peoples of different religious traditions to come together to work on some of the issues of our time. Refugees and migrants were one of the four areas identified. As 2015 became 2016, I asked myself the question, as an old university president, what are universities doing about the issue of refugee and migrants? So I had been president for 6 years of the International Federation of Catholic Universities. I called my colleagues at the Federation and said, I'm thinking about doing a conference on the role and responsibility of universities vis-a-vis refugee and migrant education. And fortunately, they responded very positively to the notion of being a partner in developing that conference. So in November of 2017, about 70 people gathered at the Gregorian University in Rome to discuss just that topic. What should universities be doing in the areas of teaching, research, and social responsibility in light of the refugee and migrant realities of the time? We're very, very fortunate to have an excellent group of colleagues in planning that conference, including Father Aldo, and equally delighted that Pope Francis invited us to a private audience at the end of the conference to both hear about what we did, but also to encourage us to go forward. And it was with that point of what do we do now that we've had this conference, we could just take the sharing at the conference and then go back to our respective places. But there emerged in the group a desire to find a way to continue to cooperate together around education of migrants and refugees. And I think that came out of a sense of the magnitude of the issues that we're facing, that the world is immersed in, the reality of so many people struggling because of those realities. So in 2018, what emerged is what is now the Refugee and Migrant Education Network. And we're a network of universities, NGOs, and individuals who seek to voluntarily to collaborate in fostering educational opportunities for refugees and migrants, and also about refugees and migrants. Network has members now in 23 countries. We have 150 institutional members, so universities and NGOs, another 800 individuals who have identified themselves as members, and then several thousand people who are connected through our newsletter and the programmings that we've done. So it's gradually developed. It also hit some unanticipated realities with the coming of the pandemic in 2020 through 2022 and beyond. So as our original plans of how we would develop and serve the members kind of got forced to ask itself very quickly, what are we going to do when you can't travel? What are you going to do when you can't bring people together? So the use of webinars became critical for us. It continues to be a very important way that we provide opportunities for our members to come together. In fact, tomorrow we will be doing a webinar with Sesame Street on early childhood education. And that we'll usually do 5 or 6 webinars during the course of the year. What's important about that, as an example, is the need or the desire for some gathering and discussion around improving education of young children emerged in discussions among the members. And the network sees its role as trying to facilitate the appropriate educational opportunities around topics that the members say, we've got a need here. Can you help us? So that those webinars based on it, needs of members is a key way that we go forward. We've got a monthly newsletter, and then we have about a half a dozen working groups within the network. There's a working group on instructional technology, another one on research, a third one on assisting or gathering young doctoral students, collaborate in their research work together. So the forming of working groups within the network has been a critically important for us, and providing a place where information can be shared. So the monthly newsletter that goes out to about 1,500 people shares information about workshops and conferences. For instance, we mentioned today's workshop in our most recent newsletter in January, just to let people know about things that are going on that they might not otherwise be aware of. So that the network sees itself operating around three objectives. One, to connect people who want to be part of the network. Second, to foster educational opportunities within the network for the members of the network. And then thirdly, when possible, to help to find the financial resources and the information resources that people are looking for. Now, just on the last point, not on the financial side, but on the resource side, several months ago, a member in Kenya wrote and said, what scholarship opportunities are available for talented people coming out of school in my town? And what I realized was that we had disparate lists. So one of the things that we've been working on right now, should be completed in about a month, will be a comprehensive list of all the scholarship opportunities that we're aware of. How do we build that list? We went to the members and said, we're seeking to build a list of scholarship opportunities that can be a resource to our members. So that kind of process has been very, very important. If I had some lessons, I think perhaps the most important one that for me, and continuing important one for me, is that the network is absolutely vibrant when the members are engaged. So the vibrancy of the members is absolutely critical. And secondly, the willingness to continue to be organic in our approach to our evolution. When we started with the idea of a network in 2018, it was essentially to be a network of universities. But quickly we found out that some of our major partners and people interested were people working within NGOs. So early on, it became a network of universities and NGOs. And we have a formal process for organizational members to join. But we also found, as we were going along in the first year, that there were individuals within institutions or independent who were doing very significant work, but their institutions were not at that point ready or interested in committing to a membership. Now, there's no membership fee or anything like that, but so we said, well, there are individuals who are doing important work in the area of refugee and migrant education. Bring them into the tent. And so from a narrowly focused, this is a network of universities, it moved rather quickly into saying universities and NGOs, and in the course of the first year or so to say there are individuals who are making significant contributions who also want to be part of this network. They also should be invited into the network. So it's fluid, it's organic. Sometimes that has some challenges to it, but the opportunities, I think, far outweigh the challenges. And then maybe to leave one example of the work that goes on within the network informally, but critically. At the first international conference that the network did, which was at Manhattan College in New York in 2018, professor of law from Villanova University came to the meeting, and she had an idea about developing a certificate for migrant advocates who could go to court with migrants in their process of seeking asylum. She wanted some help in designing the program. And 3 people at the conference were people with appropriate educational credentials who assisted her in developing her certificate program, which is now flourishing and has been educating hundreds of people that then get certified as migrant advocates that can go to court accompanying migrants. So someone coming with an idea, looking for collaborators, and then developing the project. That's at the end of the day, that's probably what the network is at its core. And given the magnitude of the issues that we face, I think the premise is that finding ways to connect people enormously important, to help one another to achieve the goals that we have. And then finally, this is my third final, so I'm sorry about that. There is a tendency within our established organizations, universities, NGOs, to become very inward looking, that somehow we have to do it all ourselves. The decision to join a network and to be an active member of a network has built into it the assumption that we can do more when we do things together. And that's critical to the life of a network. Thank you.